Chapter 6. Business-to-Business Marketing. These are the learning objectives for this chapter. How do B2B firms segment their markets? How does B2B buying differ from consumer buying behavior? What factors influence the B2B buying process? Business-to-business marketing refers to the process of buying and selling goods or services to be used in the production of other goods and services for consumption by the buying organization and/or for resale by wholesalers and retailers. The key distinction between business-to-business marketing and business-to-consumer marketing is the end user. Just like organizations that sell directly to final consumers in business-to-consumer transactions, business-to-business firms focus their efforts on serving specific target markets to create value for those customers. This slide summarizes the different types of business-to-business markets, which are presented in greater detail in the following slides. Some of the biggest business-to-business buyers are manufacturers and producers. They buy raw materials, components, and parts that allow them to manufacture their own goods. This YouTube link is to a video clip previewing a gear trade show. Trade shows are common for B2B selling and allows manufacturers to see new raw materials and for resellers to see new products. Resellers perform an essential service. They aggregate goods from manufacturers and sell them to retailers, or in the case of retailers, they sell them to consumers. Thus, one reseller can represent many different manufacturers, which saves the manufacturers the trouble of finding retailers or consumers and gives retailers or consumers the ability to buy only the desired quantity from the reseller. In many ways, it is similar. They are still showing benefits of the product and a need by the consumer. The ad still needs to be attractive and attention-getting. This type of ad would be in a trade magazine for institutional food buyers, restaurants, or a convenience store trade publication. Institutions such as hospitals, educational organizations, and religious organizations also purchase all kinds of goods and services. This YouTube video talks about a London museum buying Rolling Stones artwork. In most countries, the central government tends to be one of the largest purchasers of goods and services. For example, the U.S. federal government spends about $2.1 trillion annually on procuring goods and services. State and local governments also make significant purchases. There are many firms that specialize in selling just to the government. Runways help the wholesale buyers get a preview of fashion trends. For the designer, they get to create buzz for their product with the end consumer. Now check yourself. 1. Identify the various types of B2B markets: manufacturers, resellers, institution, government. 2. What are the NAICS codes and how are they used? North American Industry Classification System, NAICS, categorize all firms into a hierarchical set of 6-digit codes. They are useful to B2B marketers for segmenting and targeting their markets. The business-to-business process parallels the business-to-consumer process, though it differs in many ways. Both start with need recognition, but the information search and alternative evaluation steps are more formal and structured in the business-to-business process. In the first stage of the business-to-business buying process, the buying organization recognizes, through either internal or external sources, that it has an unfilled need. Examples of these sources are suppliers, salespeople, and competitors. After recognizing the need, the organization considers alternative solutions and comes up with potential specifications that suppliers might use to develop their proposals to supply the product. The request for proposal, RFP, is a common process through which buying organizations invite alternative suppliers to bid on supplying their required components. The purchasing company may simply post its RFP needs on its website, like the U.S. government, work through various business-to-business linkages, or contact potential suppliers directly. The web link on this page brings you to FedBizOp's site. Exists for any firm that wishes to bid on government contracts. Potential suppliers can view the products or services being sought. The buying organization, in conjunction with its critical decision makers, evaluates all the proposals it receives in response to its RFP. Often, several vendors are negotiating against each other. Considerations other than price play a role in final selection. In the fifth stage, the firm places its order with its preferred supply. The order will include a detailed description of the goods, prices, delivery dates, and possible penalties if the order is not filled on time. After the vendor has performed the service or delivered the order, the buyer conducts a vendor analysis to judge whether the vendor should provide future purchases. Now check yourself. 1. Identify the stages in the B2B buying process: need recognition, product specification, RFP process, proposal analysis and supplier selection, orders specification, vendor performance assessment using metrics. 2. How do you do a vendor analysis? The buying team develops a list of issues that it believes are important to consider in the evaluation of the vendor. To determine how important each of these issues, in column 1 is, the buying team assigns an importance score to each, column 2. The more important the issue, the higher a score it will receive, but the importance scores must add up to. In the third column, the buying team assigns numbers that reflect its judgments about how well the vendor performs. To get the overall performance of the vendor, in the fourth column, the team combines the importance of each issue and the vendor's performance scores by multiplying them together. The six-stage business-to-business buying process may be influenced by three factors within the purchasing organization: the buying center, the buying organization's philosophy or corporate culture, and the buying situation. There are 6 different buying roles within a typical buying center. One or more people may take on a certain role, or one person may take on more than one role. A firm's organizational culture reflects the set of values, traditions, and customs that guide its employees' behavior. Organizational culture can have a profound influence on purchasing decisions, and corporate buying center cultures might be divided into 4 general types: autocratic, democratic, consultative, and consensus. The type of buying situation also affects the business-to-business decision process. Most business-to-business buying situations can be categorized into 3 types: new buys, modified rebuys, and straight rebuys. In a new buy situation, a customer purchases a good or service for the first time, which means the buying decision is likely to be quite involved because the buyer or the buying organization does not have any experience with the item. All 6 steps of the buying process are likely to be used. In a modified rebuy, the buyer has purchased a similar product in the past, but has decided to change some specifications, such as the desired price, quality level, customer service level, options, and so forth. Current vendors are likely to have an advantage in acquiring the sale in a modified rebuy situation. Straight rebuys occur when the buyer or buying organization simply buys additional units of products that had previously been purchased. Most business-to-business purchases are likely to fall into this category. Now check yourself. 1. What factors affect the B2B buying process? The buying center, the buying organization's philosophy or corporate culture, and the buying situation. 2. What are the 6 different buying roles? 1. Initiator, the person who first suggests buying the particular product or service. 2. Influencer, person whose views influence other members of the buying center in making the final decision. 3. Decider, the person who ultimately determines any part of the entire buying decision, whether to buy, what to buy, how to buy, or where to buy. 4. Buyer, the person who handles the paperwork of the actual purchase. 5. User, the persons who consumes or uses the product or service, and 6. Gatekeeper, the persons who controls information or access, or both, to decision makers and influencers. What is the difference between new buy, rebuy, and modified rebuy? In a new buy situation, a customer purchases a good or service for the first time. The buying decision is likely to be quite involved. The buying center is likely to proceed through all 6 steps in the buying process and involve many people in the buying decision. In a modified rebuy, the buyer has purchased a similar product in the past but has decided to change some specifications, such as the desired price, quality level, customer service level, options, and so forth. Straight rebuys occur when the buyer or buying organization simply buys additional units of products that had previously been purchased. Business-to-business, B2B marketing refers to the process of buying and selling goods or services to be used in the production of other goods and services for consumption by the buying organization and/or for resale by wholesalers and retailers. Buying center participants are people responsible for buying decisions. A private exchange occurs when a specific firm, either buyer or seller, invites others to participate in online information exchanges and transactions. The request for proposals, RFP, is a process through which buying organizations invite alternative suppliers to bid on supplying the required components. Resellers are marketing intermediaries that resell manufactured products without significantly altering their form.